Human trafficking has fast become a burning issue globally, and one of the cardinal principles and strategy to stem its occurrence is prevention. To effectively implement this strategy, advocacy visits to community and social influencers, constant engagement with all the channels of the media, and the involvement of state and private sector actors cannot be overemphasized. This is Naptip on the Move, and I am Emmanuel Okeke. Thank you for joining us. Recognizing the role of public enlightenment, advocacy, and sensitization in the prevention of human trafficking, the Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Okadonli, since assumption of office, embarked on massive public enlightenment campaigns and advocacy visits to seek the support of all and sundry in the fight against human trafficking. And so, our package today brings you her working visit to Edo and Lagos states. Stay with us.
Human trafficking thrives because of its clandestine nature, as victims are usually deceived and coerced into swearing an oath of secrecy, and as such refuse to give important information for the prosecution of traffickers. To stem the tide of human trafficking, the Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Okadonli, has traversed the length and breadth of the nation on advocacy visits to relevant stakeholders, highlighting the ills of human trafficking. Recently, during a working visit to Edo State, she paid a courtesy call on the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Omonoba Nedo Uku Akpolokpolo Oba Eware II.
Naptip, sir, as you know, is the federal government anti-trafficking agency responsible for the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. We have a zonal command here, shelter here in Benin City. There's so much going on in Nigeria today, and there's a lot of human trafficking activities going on here in your kingdom side, Benin City. It's very endemic here. And a lot of our young ones have been held up in places like Libya and Italy. The federal government has done a lot to bring them back and rehabilitate them. There are new dimensions now. Now they've shifted the goalposts to Saudi Arabia, Dubai and Oman, under the guise of giving them jobs as housemaids and nurses. This is a new trend, and our girls and boys are dying in their numbers. We have a very big challenge, particularly in Edo State, because of the juju priest that these madams use to administer oath on these young girls. When we are even able to rescue these girls, they are so scared to give us information, leading to the arrest of the traffickers, because they administer some kind of oath on them, and they make them to think that they will die, their parents will die, and all of that. Royal Majesties, I would like you to help us to summon all the leading traditional priests and chiefs in the states, every one of them, so that we can help us to sensitize them. We don't even mind coming to give them a brief presentation on the ills and dangers of trafficking, and to show them what is happening to the children. They may have a rethink, especially the mothers and fathers and parents, of the children.
Receiving the Naptip delegation, the Oba of Benin commended the agency and pledged to handle the issues raised by the Director General of Naptip.
Naptip has been doing a wonderful work in handling human trafficking problems, but I know that it has not been easy. We are of course not happy that a reflection of low indigenous keep coming up in the discussion of human trafficking and illegal migration. But however, we will do our best. I've taken note of what you have said about these native doctors you were talking about, how they make them swear, and all that. We are all aware, we are familiar with that story. But be rest assured that we will do our best to discourage these people from this unacceptable behavior. There has to be a synergy between the three sectors, federal agencies, state agencies, as well as the traditional sector, to fight this cancer of the thing, which is really most undesirable.
She also visited the Iyase of Benin Kingdom, Chief Sam Igbe. While in Benin, Edo State, Dame Julie Okadonli also received a delegation from the United Kingdom Parliament and House of Lords, represented by Baroness Elizabeth Barker and Kathy Osamo at the Naptip Zonal Command in Benin City.
We have come here as a delegation not only to listen firsthand to find out what is happening on the front line, to know of all the work that you're doing, but also for you to talk to us about the challenges that you have overcome and the challenges that we still have to overcome together. One of the unique things about the all-party group is that we have access to the diaspora in the UK. And the diaspora, the Nigerian diaspora, want to work with those of you here on the ground. They want to know how they can better use their resources, use their expertise, and more importantly, learn from what maybe we are taking for granted. Some of the things, some of the practices that we have, we need to educate each other as soon as possible. So we've come here first and foremost to learn, to listen, to inform each other, take that information back, write a report, and use the all-party group to encourage people to support the great work you're doing here, but more importantly, for people to know what you are doing here.
Commending the fruitful partnership between the Government of the United Kingdom and Naptip, the Director General, Dame Julie Okadonli, proffered solution to the Libyan situation and sought strict implementation of existing laws.
The relationship with the British government is very good. Yeah, one of the best of all our partnerships so far. We've done joint operations as well with the NCA in the UK Border Police, in London, Heathrow and Gatwick Airport, and it was a success, and we hope to see more of that happen. What we want to see more happening is more joint operations between the UK law enforcement agencies and Naptip. We want to see more joint investigations, operations. Mutual legal assistance is very, very important. More information sharing. We need information. We need to be transparent. What we realize is that in the destination countries, for example, they do not share information because whoever the trafficker is cannot be doing it alone. If the trafficker is in the UK, surely there's some British component in it. He or she is working with the British criminal gangs, but we never get that information. In all the countries, they only tell us the Nigerian one, which I think is wrong. Because if we continue to prosecute the Nigerians and we do not prosecute that chain in the other parts of the country, we're just wasting our time. And this is exactly what's been going on. You know, secondly, if somebody is trafficking in a destination country, they must have accounts. They must have assets. So We have not heard anything about their funds that you've frozen. We have not heard anything about the assets that you've confiscated. Because if you freeze accounts in the UK, for example, or you seize the assets, you need to repatriate it back to the country of origin, because that's where it started from. The funding, the assets belong to the victims of trafficking trust fund for the benefit of the victims. I'm advocating that all the detention camps be shut down all over the world, because this is what is aggravating human trafficking big time. All the detention camps must be shut down immediately. It is from these detention camps the sexual exploitation starts, the trafficking starts, the forced labor starts, and all the evil connected to human trafficking starts. So they must shut down all detention camps all over the world.
After the meeting at the Benin Zonal Office, the delegation visited the Naptip shelter where they met some Libyan returnees who shared their stories and sought for support. This was a very emotional moment for the Director General, who later joined the welcome song and assured the returnees of Naptip's resolve to empower them. Member of the UK Parliament, Kathy Osamo, had a word of advice for the returnees.
If there's anybody that is out there that we need to know about and they're doing harmful things or potentially could hurt another young person, we need to know who they are. That's the only way this track will actually be broken. We need to break it so they know it's harder for them to continue operating. This home may not be, the most glamorous looking place, but you are safe. Yes. That's more than anything, and I know you all appreciate that. You have people that care for you, people that show you with respect, and you respect them back. But we must also think about how we can improve it. But the first thing is to know that you are safe here. Those of us in the UK, we care about you. We'll do everything we can to make sure this place stays safe. And for us to be able to do that, we need to work together.
As part of the advocacy visit to Edo State, the Director General of Naptip visited the Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin, Professor Faraday Osasere Orungwese.
Crime of human trafficking can catch anybody. We used to think it was only the illiterates in the villages, but funny enough, we found out that even undergraduates actually abandoned their school and got trapped in human trafficking. And so, information is very important. A lot of people, you see them in the universities, but they're very ignorant. They don't even know what is going on. They don't understand the intricacies of human trafficking. And so, at every opportunity, we use that to enlighten them. Every single student and staff, because they are all parents, must hear about the ills and consequences of human trafficking, so that Ms. Uniben will be well equipped and armed with knowledge concerning human trafficking.
She then attended a public lecture titled Youth Migration, Consequences and Current Realities, organized by the University of Benin in commemoration of the 60th birthday celebration of her distinguished alumnus, Captain Dr. Idahosa Wells Okumbo, where she presented a paper on youth migration, deportation and rehabilitation, the way forward.
Migration, whether legal or illegal, creates an impact on nations, societies involved, whether destination or source. Some of these effects include brain drain, depletion of human resources, that's the workforce, economic depression, underpopulation, overpopulation, negative image before the international community, limited social amenities in destination countries, increase in crime rates, increase in occurrence of human rights violation cases, untimely death by migrants, especially irregular ones. This phenomenon deprives Nigeria of her most energetic, feisty, and entrepreneurial citizens. Oftentimes, they contribute remarkably to the development of their host countries, while their original countries stagger in underdevelopment and backwardness.
In her speech, she highlighted the factors facilitating human trafficking.
Migration usually occurs by a number of a combination of causes that have been grouped into the push and pull factors. The push factors are those conditions in one's country that make the individual aspire to live. The pull factors, on the other hand, are those conditions in the desired country that attracts the individual to want to go there. The push factors are poverty, low wages, lack of opportunities and economic hardship, ignorance, greed, peer pressure, dysfunctional homes, land dispossession, insurgency and war, social marginalization, climate change, internal conflict, political unrest, and so on. The pull factors are perceived better opportunities elsewhere. Availability of opportunities like cheap labor, lack of workers for available jobs, power of the foreign currencies against the local currency, good social security measures, positive economic situation, political and social stability, good social infrastructure, investments made by migrants, especially in real estate. This is a great motivation for young persons here in Nigeria. Legalization of prostitution at the destination countries, and pornography, and so on. Migrants most times end up being trafficked and smuggled abroad. Just like the case of Nigerians in Libya, these migrants also end up in other parts of Africa and Europe for forced labor, sexual exploitation, and other forms of mistreatment, including organ harvesting. In concluding, I want to say, the grass might seem greener elsewhere, but in reality, it might end up being an illusion. If you must travel, do it legally. Ensure that you have your documents and know your rights in the country you plan to visit. It is also important to note here that we as individuals should think of ways of building our country up to the standard of those we desire to go to. Finally, Nigerian youths and all countrymen and women, please join hands with Naptip to stop irregular migration and human trafficking, and together we shall win. Join the fight and make a change. Thank you very much.
Professor Usahieme Benson Osadolo, Dean, Student Affairs, UNIBEN, also presented a paper titled Stemming the Tide of Youth Migration, a Viable Alternative.
Madam Cash, and she na person we don't see better part of life, and she don't come with better opportunity. So all of us go carry for Italy. Mama, some opportunity be this one. Me sef, I want go Italy. Make I dey make money. I want to speak English or you know. That's Madam Cash.
Shut up! Which Italy? You know what they do for there? Eh? You know they go anywhere.
Mama, don't go tell me I go.
You know they go anywhere. Come on, shut up!
At the end of the very successful working visit to Edo State, Dame Julie Okadonli visited the Nigerian Television Authority Network Center in Benin City. She then proceeded to Lagos State, where she met with the General Overseer of the Lord's Chosen Charismatic Revival Movement. Pastor Lazarus Morka, General Overseer of Lord's Chosen, commended the Director General of Naptip for her passion in ensuring human trafficking is reduced to the barest minimum, and pledged to work with Naptip in sensitizing members of the church. The Director General of Naptip also visited the Nigerian Television Authority in Lagos, where she was a guest at the Close Flow television show. To ensure effective dissemination of human trafficking messages to youth, a one-day workshop was organized by the agency with the social media micro-influencers in Lagos, which commenced with a presentation on Naptip mandate and strategies by the Head of Press and Public Relations, Josiah Emerole, followed by a discussion led by the Director General. Naptip Ambassador and the current Miss Nigeria, Mildred Peace Ehigwese, charged the social media influencers to spread the message as a moral duty. It was a very interactive session. Dame Julie Okadonli also sensitized more youth at the symposium, tagged Mental Slavery and the True Emancipation of the Black Race, which was organized by the popular Nigerian actress Omotola Jalade Ekinde as part of her 40th birthday celebration. The Director General of Naptip presented a paper titled Mental Slavery and Self-Worth, Goals and Legacy of Young Black People.
The capabilities of a man are limited by what he fails to notice. The average black youth hopes to become a responsible individual someday, capable of fending for his or her children and entire household, playing leadership roles in the country, and making meaningful contributions to the community, as everyone was born to make a difference. For some, this great dream often becomes dwarfed in the process of time, as their young minds gradually become exposed to certain threatening socio-economic conditions in their immediate environments. These conditions subject them to negative reasoning, heightened by economic uncertainties. As their minds become debased, they become vulnerable and get exploited. The few fortunate survivors return only to realize the abundant opportunities back home that they had failed to notice prior to their victimization. Then regret set in. What am I trying to say here? A lot of youth think that anything outside Nigeria is the best, just because of their mindsets. Unfortunately, most youths are victims of their upbringing. They do not believe in Nigeria, they do not even believe in themselves. I mean, when people talk about poverty, I laugh. How poor can you be if you can afford to bring out 500,000 to 1 million naira to give these traffickers to traffic you? Forgetting that because of your status as an irregular or illegal migrant, when you get to these European countries, you will be treated like a slave. You'll be given the dangerous and dirty jobs to do.
She was also a panelist at the symposium, which was attended by many notable Nigerians, and encouraged the youth to take charge of their lives. The working visit to Edo and Lagos State, geared towards massive public enlightenment, advocacy, and galvanizing all sectors in the fight against human trafficking, was indeed very successful.
Human trafficking, popularly known as modern-day slavery, is very much with us, even in this 21st century. It is a crime against God and humanity. You may be thinking, this message is not for me. Think again, because if you are paying your employee through an agent, you are a trafficker. If you employ a child under 12 years as a domestic worker, you are a trafficker. If you abduct a person against their will, keep and exploit them for monetary gains, you are a trafficker. If you promise international jobs with the intention to exploit the victim sexually and for cheap labor, you are a trafficker. If you buy and sell human organs, you are a trafficker. There are so many components of trafficking with devastating effects on the victims. This victim may be your daughter, son, brother, sister, mother, or father. Let us be our brother's keeper. Join hands with Naptip to stop human trafficking now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these Naptip hotlines: 0703 00 203, 080 02 255 627847. Naptip, empowered to protect you.
For more enquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call Naptip hotlines on 0703 00 203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at Naptip Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
The current management of Naptip is leaving no stone unturned in the fight against human trafficking, and you too can be a part of this great cause. Join Naptip to prevent the evil of modern-day slavery. Spread the message. Keep the discussion trending. Who knows? You could save a life. This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode. Support Naptip by reporting suspected cases of human trafficking, domestic violence, and child abuse. I hope to see you same time next week. I am Imanalo Keke. Thank you for watching.